doctoral thesis. I've torn it to pieces with house and gaffle. I can't remember when I last pissed myself laughing. It's a good thing the thesis mopped the piss off the floor.
Welcome to part 11 of this read-through and peer review of Kent Hovind's doctoral dissertation, which was published on wikileaks.org on December the 9th, 2009. If you have not yet seen any of the previous parts of this series, then I recommend that you go back and see those first, as in this episode I will start off exactly where I left off in the last. In the last episode, Kent babbled on about the Tower of Babel. In this episode, he babbles on about Eastern and Western branches of evolution. Kent continues. In the European community, actually in area of Asia Minor and the country of Turkey, we have the Western branch of evolution. I'm looking forward to hearing about this bullshit, aren't you? Anyway, in the countries of China, Japan and India, the Eastern branch of evolution developed. The branches actually developed simultaneously. Kent, I'm beginning to suspect that what you're about to talk about has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with evolution. Let's find out. The flood was about 2400 BC, which makes it about 4,400 years ago. Kent points this out for the members of his audience that have difficulty adding 2000 to 2400, which is probably most of them. The Tower of Babel was probably built within the first 300 to 500 years after the flood. Nothing like accuracy there, Kent, is there? Nothing like accuracy at all. Tell me, Kent, when you were composing that sentence, did you at all get the urge to look that one up? Nope, didn't think so. Let's just assume that it was about 1900 BC when the Tower of Babel was built. Well, why not? We've assumed everything else is true, so why not assume that one too? The people were scattered from the tower. Many of the people in their pride still tried to find some way to become their own god. This is the basic motive behind evolution. And there was the rest of us all thinking that evolution was the variation of allele frequency within a species population over time. Were you holding a banana when you wrote that one, Kent? Anyhow, Kent continues. For the next several hundred years following the Tower of Babel, there were many evolutionary-type myths passed down from generation to generation. We just know that this is going to be good, isn't it? It's going to be really, really good. In the year 640 BC, a fellow named Thales was born in Asia Minor. At some point in his life, he began the first of the modern evolutionary doctrines. He said that man had evolved from animals, animals had come from plants, plants had come from inorganic elements, and all of these had come from water. And bearing in mind that was over 2,500 years ago, we must give this man a round of applause, because although he was wrong, he was kind of on the right lines. Anaximander, one of the students of Thales, enlarged on this theory slightly. Anaximander lived from 611 to 547 BC. He taught Pythagoras, who is famous for the Pythagorean theorem used in mathematics. So Anaximander was a bright lad. Of course, it would have been nice to have known what Anaximander had said about evolution, but Kent doesn't go on to say about that. But Kent does go on. At this point, there was a split in the evolutionary doctrine. One group became atheistic and said that there was no God. Pythagoras started the group that became pantheistic. He said there had to be a God based on the design he saw in nature, but the God that he saw was the God in nature. The idea of limiting God to the natural elements is the underlying theme of pantheism. That may be, Kent, but in truth it was somewhat more believable to say that God existed within reality than outside reality, because after all, everything that is outside reality is not real. But anyway, he lived from 580 to 489 BC. He believed that nature is divine. He also believed in numerology, reincarnation, and vegetarianism. But I guess you left those bits out, didn't you, Kent? Kent continues in a rather badly constructed sentence. There are basically three types of religions in the world. The first type is atheism, which says that there is no God. Well, Kent, if you're going to be wrong, you might as well start off being wrong, eh? The clue's in the name, Kent. Atheism, derived from the Greek, meaning without God, as in, they do not believe in God. Now, if you were to say atheistic, then you may be on the right lines. But you didn't. Psalm 14:1 calls the people who believe there is no God fools. Well, bearing in mind where that passage is, it's hardly going to call them correct now, is it? The second type of religion is pantheistic, which says that nature is God. This group says that the universe is in control of itself and knows what it wants to accomplish. Pantheism imports a divine nature to the elements. Well, at least it appears that you looked that statement up. He continues. The third type of religion says that God is outside of, above and beyond his creation. He is not limited by his creation in any way. This is the almighty, infinite God of the Bible, and presumably of the Torah, and the Quran, and any one of the numerous other holy books and holy works that talk about a God up outside, above and beyond his creation. You didn't think yours was the only one now, did you, Kent? Surely not. Socrates was a pantheist Greek philosopher who lived from 469 to 399 BC. He's also known as Socrates in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, which was excellent. Socrates did not leave any writings, but his student Plato wrote prolifically. Plato, like his teacher Socrates, was definitely a pantheist. He also believed that nature is God, which, incidentally, is what the definition of a pantheist is, or certainly a natural pantheist, at least. Munitz, from his book, Theories of the Universe, page 61, said, Plato also makes use of another analogical pattern of thought in describing the universe as an all-inclusive living creature, one whose body is perfectly spherical and whose soul animates the whole world. In addition to this world soul, the various individual heavenly bodies are regarded by Plato as divine beings. And for once we'll leave it with a fact you can actually look up.